they're going to jail nowadays. You know what I mean? They ain't getting off anymore unless it's real petty. These niggas is all going, they all getting charged, you know what I mean? And they all going away, Casanova, all these motherfuckers. Soulja Boy just did a bid. There's no more Johnny Cochran. You know what I'm talking about? These niggas is not getting off anymore.
So you're thinking it's a wrap?
And put it to you like this. Any other case OJ had and Johnny Cochran wasn't involved, his ass was guilty. They found him guilty. You know what I mean? Guilty in the shit in Las Vegas. They had no evidence on him there. That was real bullshit. But there are no more Johnny Cochrans. These niggas think they just gonna throw around a bunch of money. Hey man, the feds, why do you think they took 6 months to charge him? They knew they're dealing with a billionaire that will go broke.
Check this out. I got some more footage. Breaking news.
What?
Exploitation by Combs. For the first time, we are hearing about victims who say they were minors when they were allegedly assaulted by the music star. The youngest allegedly just 9 years old. The allegations were revealed today by attorneys representing more than 100 alleged victims.
Now, they're saying sex assaults sound like it's a class action lawsuit. 120 people. Here's what I find odd about this. This is very strange to me. I'm going to say why. I'm not saying whether he did it or not. I'm saying these aren't criminal charges yet. These are civil suits. So remember what I told you before. They trying to break that money down. Yeah. Oh, okay, nigga, you got $1 billion. All right, look, we want 100 grand a piece. I bet you 50 of them people it wasn't even touched. But it's a money grab right now.
Around them, they can just prove. You don't have to be touched. If you can prove you were around them, you're going to get a bag right now.
But now they mentioned that there's some big celebrities involved too. So this RICO's about to open up. He's not going to be the only person on the RICO. 2 of his sons going to be on the RICO.
That was at them parties, whether they did some or not, is going to either be subpoenaed to testify, or what the real reason they threw the RICO here is we'll throw a RICO on you, put you on the RICO just so we know you'll talk. You know what I mean? They want Diddy and whoever was directly helping Diddy.
They're trying to find out how can they indict mainly all the black men and protect the whites, and that's not going to happen. You got Ashton Kutcher. He's going down.
No, this is bigger than race. This ain't got nothing to do. This ain't about race.
Oh,
this is about his conduct. This is not a racially driven thing, because they're about to get Ashton Kutcher. His ass is in some trouble, because he was. If you were at Diddy's party and you busted a nut, you're in some trouble.
The white guys, they're not gonna do the time that Diddy did. They're not.
They're not gonna do. No one is gonna. Here's the thing: the RICOs are just so you'll talk. All right, we're gonna throw a RICO on you, Ashton Kutcher. Oh, you want to plead the fifth? How about we throw this RICO on you?
So you don't think there's a higher hand than Diddy? You think he's the top dude that came up with all of this?
What's Diddy's net worth prior to this?
Well, that's the question in hand. Okay, how much money did you make during these so-called RICOs?
Before Diddy got popped, before the charges, and they raided his crib? What was his net worth? Was he a billionaire?
I believe so.
Okay, how many people are above a billionaire? You know what I mean? It gets to a certain point where it's not going to be for Diddy. It's not going to be about telling about somebody bigger than him. That's not what it's going to be. It's going to be, all right, Diddy, you're about to do this 30-piece, 25-piece. Let us know.
When you have something like this, bro, when you have something.
Let us know who was fucking underage girls. Let us know who else at your parties was drugging bitches and knowingly was fucking drugged bitches. Oh, it was him. It was him. It was him. It's him. All right, we'll take that 30-piece. We'll maybe put it to 15, 20.
I want you to listen to this.
That's the deal he's going to get. He's not going to get, there ain't no one to snitch on. Like,
I don't know, bro. I'm starting to wonder if other politicians and law listen to what the lawyer said. The lawyer said more than 3. Now, some of this may be hold
on. I want you and your listeners to understand something about that lawyer, Tony Busby.
Is he any good?
He's a what they call kind of like they call them like ambulance chasers.
Oh, he is.
He's the guy that brought all these people for this football player named Deshaun Watson that was playing with Houston.
Oh no, not him.
Yeah, that's the lawyer. That's the same guy. He don't have a whole lot of credibility.
Uh-oh.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
Basically, it's like this: if you're a celebrity and your name's in the news, because he was in the news, the football player for the massage therapist. He had got a lot of massage therapists, and one had made a claim against him. So this dude said, "Wait a minute, he had a lot of massage therapists. Let me go find all of them." And then we'll go to him and say, "Hey, you can get a bag. All you got to do is just say he touched you. We don't have to have any proof because all you got to do is just prove that you did a massage and you're going to get a bag." Oh, okay, cool. So I'm sorry. He came with 120 people. Come on, man.
The lawyer said there's 3,000 individuals, I think is ridiculous. He said it's come forward.
This isn't Mark Garagos or one of them type of attorneys. This dude is his credibility is very much.
Yeah, and he got the slick back look. You know, his hair slicked back, so he looks like a slime ball. It said
I seen it with Tony Busby. I said, "Oh no, that guy." If you got shit in the news and he's from your hometown or something, he'll go to everybody. "Oh, did you ever talk to DP? Oh, you did? Come on, we can sue him."
He sounds like, you know what he sounds like, man? You ever watch Walter White, Breaking Bad? He sounds like a Better Call Saul type of nigga, man.
No, he's a lawyer that's trying to get a bag. I mean, I don't really be attacking blacks. I don't really, I understand where he's coming from, but I wouldn't take a whole lot of stock in what he's saying.
Busby's right, right?
The feds will talk to the 15-year-old. They want to know what's going on with that, and the 9-year-old. And they'll want to talk to them too. The rest of that shit, I'll be honest with you, I don't even think the feds really going to hear that. It
says this dude plans to begin filing lawsuits. It is about money. It says with various states within the next 30 days. Among this new group of accuser, Busby says 62% identify as black, and they hail from more than 25 states, with the majority from New York, Cali, Georgia, Florida. Oh man! Well,
he used his private investigative team, and he was just like, "Who's auditioned to be on Bad Boy? Who's met with him for an audition? Let me go find them."
Oh, you're right. You're right. Look, Busby's represented victims of several high-profile lawsuits, including BP in 2010 after the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. He represented individuals accusing quarterback Deshaun Watson. You just said that. And that same year, he filed a $750 million lawsuit against Travis Scott after a fatal crowd crush at the rapper's Astroworld Festival. Yeah, this dude is like the white Benjamin Crump.
Well, yeah. He's a little more bullshit. I mean, Crump deals with people that really got fucked up.
Right, yeah.
He's not. Crump deals with people that have been criminally done wrong and they got proof. Busby, if I went in Busby's office right now and I said, "Oh man, Diddy I went to an audition with Diddy and he grabbed my ass, and then I drank something and I felt all woozy." Oh yeah? Like, come on.
Oh, they trying to use a Mann Act on him again. Many of the lawsuits against Combs were filed in New York City, which has the victims of gender-motivated... What the hell does that mean? Victims of gender-motivated violence protection law, allowing people to file lawsuits alleging sexual abuse even after the statutes of limitation is passed. Okay, so they trying to reach back and say, all right, yeah, this happened a long time ago, or maybe we don't remember, whatever. All right, give me some money.
No, what he's saying is, yeah, if you commit a crime against a gay, then a gay can go past the statute of limits. That's what they're saying. Because there's a male escort that he supposedly gave a tape to the feds.
I heard about that.
Yeah, but what the lawyer keeps saying is all that is... See, here's the thing. Here's the truth of what's going on. You're hearing about 120 people Every other day, somebody's suing them, this and that, that and that. Your listeners need to understand one thing. The affidavit, the charges, is one victim.
Right. Yeah. On the federal case.
There's 29 witnesses to him abusing Cassie. So him and Cassie had a relationship where they got high and, you know, had threesomes, this and that. She's with Diddy because she's thinking he can help my career, and he's a fucking billionaire. Any bitch that's single is going. She's dating him. Okay, so they're getting high together. They're doing this and that. He's whooping her ass because, you know, she's just a strung out bitch. All he got to do is come with a package and she'll be cool.
Right.
Okay, so then, you know, goes. He hires her a personal trainer. No. First, he's thinking she's fooling around with Kid Cudi. He blows up Kid Cudi's car, hoping he's in it.
Well, that's it. That's in the indictment. That's
okay.
in the indictment.
Now he hires her a personal trainer, a white boy, the trainer for her career. She ends up having an affair with the white boy, marrying him, and starting a family with him. Diddy, instead of just letting it go and moving on to other bitches, totally blocked her career. Like, now no one's gonna fuck with you. He made a couple calls or did whatever he had to do. She's done. She peeped that. Okay, fuck you. I'm gonna sue you. That's all her intentions was to just sue him. I'm gonna flip all this time because, look, mind you guys, you meet a girl at a club, you go back to your house, or you go on a date with a girl and you go back to your house and you smoke a little weed with her and you drink some drinks with her and then you fuck her. She can wake up the next day and say you got her high and drunk. Right? Yeah, she can easily say that. That's what Cassie was a willing participant in all those times until she realized he blocked her career. Okay, I'm gonna sue you. He hurried up his conduct and how he paid her. The feds were like, wait a minute, what's popping here? Whoa, some of the shit she's accusing him of, that's going past state lines. We've been wanting to get this motherfucker for a long time. The feds, there's no rich motherfucker that they don't want to get, because that solidifies their credibility. So it don't, you know what I mean? I'm not saying they like blacks, don't like blacks, but any rich motherfucker they got dirt on, they coming. Especially that. They're like, wait a minute. He's going on private jets with drugs and girls, and he's forcing her to do things she doesn't want to do because this is according to her, to enhance her career, which we know isn't true. She was a willing participant until she realized my career is done. He might have made, you know, Diddy could make a couple calls to some producers, this and that. Don't fuck with her. If you fuck with her, you ain't never fucking with me. Boom, it's over. Her retaliation was to sue him. His retaliation was hurry up and pay her. Fed seen that and said, okay. Oh, okay. We got the way you acted, hurry up and pay her the next day shows us there's some truth to this. And if there's any truth to you taking her on private jets and doing any of that, that's Fed. That's what they get paid to do. My man, real trouble. Well, real trouble.
Now, they're talking about working out this bail. I don't know how that's going to go because, you know, the judge is going to look at that.
This is the third, his second appeal. His third chance is coming up. This was his last chance, too, and he won't get it. So you can forget it. Every other day, I mean, judges watch TV, too. You know what I'm saying? They're humans, too. They watch TV. God damn, every other day, another this, another that. How can I let them out?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it.
We all know, anyone that's followed Diddy's career knows that if he gets out, he's going. He's going to the witnesses, and he done did that 2-3 weeks in jail. He ain't trying to go back to that. So Diddy gonna try to get out the country. He gonna do, even though people was asking why he never left. Here's what people didn't realize. The feds, the whole time, they had enough charges to just get him. But they wanted to really get the evidence. But at any point in time, if they got wind that he's getting on a private jet, they would have just cuffed him and just got him on what they had, just to stabilize him. And then denied his bail, So yeah, he wasn't. It doesn't work like that. What happened with Russell Simmons was, okay, so as soon as Cassie filed the lawsuit or he got wind of it, if he would have left right then and there, okay, he'd have got away, because that's what Russ did. Russ left before there was any charges or anything. He got the fuck out. Russ knew he did some shit. He got his ass out of here before it ever even got to that point. He's seen it before it was going to happen. That's why he's smart. That's what smart people can do. Real smart man could see something before it happened. That's what Russ did. And right when Cassie filed the lawsuit, and put it through like this, before she filed the lawsuit, her attorneys, I guarantee you, talked to his attorney and said, hey, guess what? We getting ready to file this $30 million lawsuit on you. Why don't you just give us 25 right now and this is over with? Somebody said, fuck you. I guarantee it, you know what I mean? Because this was a money grab. This is about getting money. So, hey, that's the catch. That's the hook, line, and sinker. Hey, Diddy, we're about to go public with this lawsuit. He probably knew about it a week before it came out.
Oh, absolutely.
So right then and there, when Russ hears that, a week before it comes out, Russ is gone. He's in Bali or whatever. He's gone. That's what Diddy should have did. As soon as he heard that, I'm out of here. Diddy has proven to not be that bright of a guy when it comes to certain things. Russ was a smart dude. He got the fuck out. You ain't getting Russ. Unless a private investigator goes out there and then cuffs him and brings him back. That's the only way. That's the only way. And there'll be some dog and bounty hunter type motherfuckers that will try to do that. But I'm sure he has security for that. You know, Diddy overplayed his hand. First thing he should have done is, right, when he had a chance to pay Cassie without anybody finding out, he should have did it. Because that's all. Because there aren't, that affidavit, there aren't 50 million victims. There's one.
Yeah.
She wasn't talking with the feds prior to that, because that contradicts the lawsuit. Because the feds would tell you, if she would have went to the feds and snitched on Diddy, they would have told her, hold off on that lawsuit real quick.
Why didn't he just pay her? Prior to.
Ego big. Man, he liked her. So at the end of the day, you left me for a white boy and you started a family with this dude after all the money I done poured into you? And because she's a very nice looking woman. Just because a motherfucker's a billionaire doesn't mean they're not going to have the same feelings me or you do.
Right.
Probably even more when it comes to shit like that, because he's not used to know somebody quitting him.
So he makes sure he gets.
He's sitting in that jail cell, knowing right now he's hoping and praying he gets access to bail, which he won't.
How
he tried
long,
to contact.
So how long will he have to do? So he's going to do at least 2-3 years, right?
Well, the judge that denied his bail the first time said this trial ain't even going to start until the end of 2026 or the beginning of 2027. Now look at Doug. Doug sat for how long before his trial? Couple years. And the reason they do that, that's not for no reason. Let it simmer. Oh, you going to talk now? What are you going to say in 2 or 3 years? You know what I mean? What are you going to say in 2 or 3 years? You got they did 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine sat there for 2 years in that jail, right? 6ix9ine would have told them Gunna sat for a year and a half. 6ix9ine and Gunna would have told the feds basically everything they needed to know right when they walked in the first second in that jail. But they know, let you sit, let you marinate, let it fester, and you'll tell us everything. You'll tell us some shit we don't even want to know. You know what I mean? That's what they want. Let Diddy sit. If they want any information from Diddy, is who else was doing that with you? Because we want another big name, a Will Smith, Ashton Kutcher. We want to fuck with them too, and you could help us.
Do you think that Young Thug is going to be able to beat his trial?
No, they got a lot of evidence on Young Thug.
Too much evidence.
Young Thug took money that he made. He might have done a lot of good things, with the money. But at the end of the day, Young Thug started an organization, a gang, whatever you want to call it, that targeted other blacks.
Now this YSL Woody guy that you had sent me the other day. Now, what was his deal in this whole thing? Did he really get off?
He was a hitter for YSL. You know what I mean? Go. You know, he was a hitter. He felt at a certain point that either he pulled a mission and didn't get paid for it or something, because he got bitter towards Thug. And guess what? He snitched on Thug and Gunna. His snitching made Gunna say, all right, I might as well do it.
I mean, this dude's running around in the hood in Atlanta, and he got money and all this kind of stuff. And how is he able to be a star and move around in the city like this?
To be a star, you have to have what? Fans? Okay. So who are his fans? This is a different era. And I hate to say it, a lot of hip hop, urban, foundational black entertainment that we see, the paying consumer is white people that like the culture.
But how is he able to move around in Atlanta like that, man? How?
Because he just gave the feds information, which means he's being monitored. You fuck with him, they're gonna know exactly who you are.
Or do you think people on the street are just afraid of him because they know his background?
No one's afraid of him. It doesn't work like that. He's on TV. He's on YouTube. He's been dealing with the feds. You do anything to him, it's a wrap. Maybe in another year or two, you never know. But this kid got money. He's going to be in the suburbs now.
Oh, man, this is crazy.
He got rich from snitching, but look at the fan base.
I would have never, ever believed.
Gunna at one time recently had the #1 rap album. No one cares. I told you that. When you're like, oh, Gunna's nuts, and no one gives a fuck. It's a different era. Our era cared about that kind of shit. This era listens to music not for any intellectual value, not for any passionate value. They just listen to music to have a good time. Turn up. Let's play that. Play Gunna. Yeah. Gunna, 80% of his money comes from white boys. And white boys do not give a fuck. They don't. That word snitching doesn't even exist in the white world. You know, that word doesn't exist. It doesn't. You know what I mean? There is none of that.
One thing.
Unless you're talking about the penitentiary white dudes, yeah, they don't say snitching in the woods. They'll talk like that, but any other white dude you meet, the word snitching ain't even in his vocabulary. What does that mean? Whistleblower.
And one thing that you were talking about the other day is the need, and this is something that is not, I don't think, discussed enough among black families, is life insurance.
Yeah, I just had a good friend of mine about a little over a month ago. One of my best friends. Still affects me now. Suddenly passed away. And prior to that, you know, if you just kind of look at things and I'm very observant, you know, I keep my allegiance to myself so I can observe things from far away. And you go to funerals and you observe how people interact when they're dealing with death of their loved ones, you know. You go to the average black funeral, African funeral, you're going to see a lot of emotional people. You're going to see a couple of people that might, you look like they might need some help, medical help. They might, collapse or something. Typically, you always see that at a foundational black funeral, Mexican funeral, African funeral. What you don't see, where you don't see that is at a white funeral. You'll never see, rarely will you see whites get emotional, real emotional when somebody, mom or dad dies. They don't get like that. They get hurt to an extent, White people are the ones who came up with you only get 3 days off of work when your loved one dies. If my mom dies, I'm going to need more than 3 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they only had 3 days to them. Like when I see this in policy.
But guess the difference? Guess what the difference is? When they're burying their mom or dad, that funeral is paid for, and they probably got a couple hundred bands.
Oh yeah,
that softens the blow, right? So I'm not saying people of color, foundationals, Africans go get life insurance to soften the blow of your death. That's not what I mean. But what I mean is I'm not saying go get life insurance so when you die your family ain't that hurt. That's not what I mean. What I mean by that is it keeps the money going. So that dude that you're sitting next to, that Wes, that CC, that kind of motherfucker that just living just like you, parents just like your parents, this and that, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're in a whole other economical category because their mom and dad died. That's a couple hundred bands. Not only that, they can go to banks and go, look, my mom's 74 years old and she's got some kind of disease. She's probably going to live. The doctor says she might only have 3-4 years left, and I'm about to get $400,000. So let me get a loan. You know, it takes you that $100 a month, $200 a month can take your kid, and it can change your generations. Because now, guess what? Your kids got a couple $100,000 each. Now, if they got any sense, they're going to get life insurance, probably a fatter package than you with a couple $100,000 put up. Now their kids going to have $400,000 or $500,000. That's where the money comes from. That's where the wealth is coming from.
Generational wealth.
That's where it's coming from. In America, you're not going to work and save your money and get rich.
No, you're not.
You need gimmicks, settlements, auto settlements, this, that, lawsuits, life insurance, retirement, fat retirement funds. So to get back to the story, so my good friend was making great money. I mean, he was making about 60-some grand a year, pretty good money, you know. His kids were grown. They ain't need nothing from him. And I used to talk to her. I said, hey, man, what are you doing for life insurance? Oh, nothing. I said, you got to do something, man. And this is an exact quote I told him 6 days before he died. The 6 days before he died, I said, you could die of a heart attack at any moment or time, and your kids would be left with nothing.
Damn.
He said, yeah, you're right. 6 days later, he died of a heart attack. And not like he wasn't sick. He was a very healthy man. So that, and then I'm watching the family struggle to pay for the funeral, having to sell T-shirts and coat jackets they made, and then struggling to make his car payments. Now they have to make his rent, and he left them with nothing. And he was a very loving father. He wasn't a lame dude. He was somebody in his kids' lives every day. He's a single father, very active in his kid's life. He just didn't have that oversight. He didn't have that to him. And I want you and all your listeners to understand that. That's very important.
You was stressing it to me one day. I went in after that. I went and signed up for $500,000, man. I said, shit, because you never know.
Something happens to you, or it's gonna happen to you. Because guess what? We all die, and guess what? We don't get to pick when. So it's very important that your family knows that you know that. Guess what? If something happens to me, my wife ain't gonna have to sell the house, get a job, which in turn is going to probably turn my teenage daughter into a hellion because ain't no one watching her. All that's trickle-down effect. You know what I mean?
And see, this is a conversation. You know, my grandma used to ask us all the time. Used to be, oh, y'all got life insurance. You know, my auntie in Chicago, she buried 2 kids, no life insurance. She said, man, you know, it's bad enough I got to bury them. She buried both of her kids back to back. And
probably had to pay for it.
We had to do a GoFundMe. I mean, we had to do, man. If I told you the story, it was just all kind of bullshit. And this is something that,
and that it's generational. Your mom probably didn't even really know about it. It's not something that people are taught about.
It's
like my friend that passed away, he didn't even he thought whatever you put in is what you got. So if you put 1,000, they got 1,000. I said, no, it's just like car insurance.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just a little different. You know what I mean? Hey, he invested $400 a month. His kids would have probably, in all these years he was working, 8, 9 years, his kids would have got at least 60, 70 grand each.
It's not discussed. And I remember one of the brothers on the black media said something like, you know, all the black folks need to get life insurance, not just for a monetary thing, but, you know, think about this for a moment. You have a situation where black Americans are under constant threat of race soldiers at every step of your imagination. We hear the story all the time. Breonna Taylor, Trayvon, countless names, and even people that we don't even hear about or know about. When you have life insurance or you have some kind of insurance, imagine if every black person had life insurance. Okay, well, you ambush and unalive a black man. Well, at some point, the system will say, well, wait a minute. This costs too much. You can't keep shooting black people. I remember Dick Gregory talked about this before on how when it came to cops killing black people, and he said there should be something, this is something that black people should have rallied for. So when they go down there and they talk to the sister girl and all these congressional black caucus niggas or whatever, black folks should have raised hell, just not reparations. When we say reparations, not just a check, it's everything across the board. This goes across medical, justice, law, okay, slaves on the stock, all of that. Think about this. The police union are probably one of the most powerful entities when it comes to the defense. People say, well, it was a bunch of racist white people that defended Chauvin. Yeah, and some of them put money up. But they have a union. They have a police union, and they have insurance. If there was something where you had a cop that just says, well, I'm just going to smoke some niggas just because I just don't like black people, like the sister down there in Springfield, Illinois, came into the sister's house. She said, rebuke you, Satan. And the whole demon came out of him, and he shot her in cold blood. They charged him right away because they didn't want no riots in Chicago. But what if there was something where, and Dick Gregory talked about this, where, hey, you kill a nigga, you lose a license. You shoot a black person one time, you lose your license or whatever. You lose your police license. You lose. So now this system here is insured. Well, you're killing innocent victims. You're violating their constitutional rights as human beings. And yeah, black folks supposed to be in a protected class. Would they still keep, he said he would have to make a decision to tell his wife. Because remember, when he loses his license, he can lose everything. He can lose his house, and then the insurance goes. If you have to ask your question, do you hate niggas more than you love your children? The average race soldier, huh?
We're already there.
Yeah, we're already there. We're already there.
Cops are not getting away with kill like that situation you're talking about. The next day, him and his partner were charged with murder.
Right.
His partner didn't do nothing.
That didn't used to happen. That didn't used to happen.
Chauvin, they know they're not allowing that to happen anymore. But what happens is if the thing is that's why it's situations like that, why places like Minnesota hurry up and give a motherfucker SSI. Hurry up. Because guess what? Somebody on disability is not going to do it. Get life insurance. You know what I mean? It's a deterrent to the black community. Because guess what? Say you owe a lot of child support. You know one way to get out of it? Get on disability. Because then it's abolished. You could owe $10,000 in child support. If you got health insurance you're paying for, And you tell them you got a documented issue and you can't work, they're going to give it to you. And you could owe you could owe $1 million in child support. It's gone.
Seriously.
It's gone because when you're on SSI and you're getting a government issue check, your wages cannot be garnished.
It makes me want to ask you something. I was dropping my wife and my daughter off at church over north, and my daughter was asking, because it was we was on Penn and Laurie or whatnot, and it gets a bunch of grown, and you could look at some of these guys and be like, man, ain't nothing physically wrong with these niggas. And she asked me, she says, why are they standing here all day? I told her, this is what happens to you when you're in your 20s and mess up your 30s, and then when you're in your 30s and you mess up your 30s and so forth, and you have nothing to offer the world, and you're not a man of consequence. I posted something. I posted a screenshot to the last broadcast you and I did about a week or so ago, talking about the seasoning of Diddy and why inconsequential men are worthless. And I think that some people that might have listened to it might have said, well, hey, you guys are saying, well, if you don't make $100,000, you're worthless. No. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is we have a generation of, and it's black women too, but I'm speaking to the men because men are supposed to be in a position of leadership. And it's too many men, and I can speak for this state specifically, so I'm just going to have to throw Minnesota under the bus, unfortunately. It's too many grown black men that got too many jokes. And it wasn't just rooted off of, like you were saying, well, damn, why do people got so many Diddy jokes? And then you were in Walmart that day, and it was like, damn, niggas got a lot of jokes. Well, you got to understand, when you are coming from the person that never graduated from the class clown, you always have jokes. You and I might have a few jokes. We might laugh a little bit or whatever, but our life is, when we wake up in the morning, you and I ain't joking. We don't think of cracking jokes when we wake up. When I check my emails in the morning, I'm not thinking about no damn jokes. Life is not a joke to me. There might be some comedy things and we get a good laugh over, whatever the case may be, but you and I have never called each other just to sit for hours and hours cracking jokes. We actually have shit to do. So what I'm saying is when I said, okay, when you're like, well, DP, why do all these people got a lot of jokes? And that's why I kind of implemented the $100,000 policy. These are niggas that ain't never led with any accomplishments, and they never really built anything. If you were to ask them if they made an LLC, they probably didn't. So to them, everything that they look at is he. So they're sitting up there, he, and with their emojis all day, and everything is a joke. And if you ask this nigga, hey man, what are you building? And they really wouldn't be able to give you any information. And like I was talking to somebody one day, and a lot of times some people have a thing where they'll say, well, yeah, we didn't get nothing done because all these folks didn't come together and this, that, and the third. And you don't need a bunch of people to come together to get shit done. And, I got a thing right now. This might offend some people, man, but I just got to say it, bro. I don't believe, especially black men, should really be talking to other black men about wanting to get stuff done if your damn credit and your shit ain't in order. I don't think you should be wasting nobody's time talking about what we should do, and then somebody asks you, all right, well, let's get something done, and then you don't have nothing in order. You're wasting time. That's passing bad business practices, and the kids and the women see it. People can see people for what they is. I'm not saying that you got to have, nobody's perfect, but in my personal opinion, I just don't think that powerless men should have a fucking opinion. Oh, I'm gonna lose some subscribers off of that. I just don't. I don't think that men that don't lead with any accomplishments or their opinion don't mean anything, because when you go to the bank, Solomon, does your bank account and does your banker and the people that you do business with, do they want to hear your opinion?
No.
They're not interested. They don't want to hear about baby oil and a bunch of jokes. They don't. They simply don't.
That's why I couldn't understand why the people at those foundationals at Walmart had jokes about Diddy, you know.
I mean,
but it goes to show you, you know what I mean? This is a state where you're going to deal with a lot of goofiness.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, black folks, we're comedic people. We crack jokes and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is and I think some of the listeners tonight, it's still gonna kind of go over their head a little bit. Like, what we're really trying to drill across is, especially with our folks here in the state of Minnesota, we really don't got a lot of time for no BS, man. We're too far behind. We're dealing with a state where the average black male is making $42K. You could look this up in the Department of Labor. I wouldn't have a bunch of damn jokes if I was fucked up like that all the time. And that's what I was telling. Like, when I was over north, and she was asking me, she was like, "Man, why are all these dudes standing around?" I said, "Because they don't want nothing. They've given up." I said, "This is where you get when you're giving up." And
yeah, but guess what? You get a check.
And that's what I was getting ready to say right there. Those folks that's probably just kind of sitting around. You got to think especially like the policies, the race soldier policies. I was gonna say Democrat, but the race soldier policies here in Minneapolis, they got it set up where they're like, well, they don't want people with with your mind state and my mind state. And they identify you early. There's some dudes out there, man, that's probably 18, 19, 20, 21, 25, 30 that are probably running down to the county like, "Hey, let me sign that paperwork. Give me that check. I ain't trying to get out here and be a man." You see what I'm saying? And when you told me that wipe child support, so I said, wait a minute. You could go out here and you could have some bastard babies and not take care of them? You're telling me that they could wipe the child support off and not hold this nigga responsible? That's what you're telling me?
Anybody that's on SSI, there's no child support.
Oh, gosh. Whoa.
If you haven't already lost your driver's license, you're good. What's going to happen? What, you got $70,000, $80,000 in back pay? There's no garnishing your wages.
So you can literally be the deadbeat of the deadbeat and get off that way.
See, Minnesota, like I keep telling you, why the fuck does this fucking state, the coldest state in America, why do they have the biggest mall? Why do all the sporting teams, even the college teams, all have individual stadiums? No one shares a stadium. Minnesota looked at it like this. If we don't accept foreigners, accept people with mental health, accept drug addicts, if we don't do that, more people will leave this state than will come in. So look at it as a business. If you owned a business and people were spending money with you, you wouldn't care who they are. And when the spending money aspect comes in, it comes in like this. Because you might give somebody a check for $700, EBT for $400, but they're spending it where? At the stores. And then people who get those kind of government checks, they usually spend their money stupidly. They'll go grocery shopping at a gas station. I've worked at them. I've seen them. Spent $50, $60 at a gas station. You could have got $150 worth of groceries at Cubs with that money.
And $100K is the new middle class now. Can you believe that? That's the new middle class.
Yeah, well, there's certain people, $100K is not even on their time frame. It ain't even on.
I'm saying,
I'm just $700 a month plus EBT. The EBT is probably about $400. So you're talking $1,100 a month. Your rent's going to be 1/3 of that $700. So that's going to be a little under $200. What is it? I mean, that wipes off everything. Guess what? Another thing that wipes out? Any talk of reparations.
Oh yeah, they're not gonna say that. They'll get offended. Those guys will get offended.
Say you got a foundational, and this is a person that I know, that I'm not going to say his name, but I'll describe his scenario. Here's a 70-year-old foundational, in his 70s, foundational from Macon, Georgia. Came to Minnesota to drop a friend off at the Mayo Clinic. Got here and stayed at a Salvation Army for a few days instead of getting a hotel room. Probably didn't have the money. Found out, oh, Minnesota, you can get you a check, man. You wipe away your back child support, and you can, man, get housing, everything. Really? Well, I need to stay here. Never went back. And guess what? Doesn't have any retirement.
Oh, gosh.
Okay? So, and I can name lots of people like that. So if you get somebody who doesn't have retirement money, didn't pay into that, and they get $700 a month, housing for under $200, free food, would you not consider that reparations? And also take into account that all blacks, all foundationals, all Africans that don't have glaring drug addictions or glaring alcoholism are getting a check. If you coming in there one of them strung out motherfuckers on Chicago and Lake, they ain't giving it to you.
Speaking of Chicago and Lake,
what's that?
Speaking of Chicago and Lake, before we go, I'm gonna wrap it up because we going to continue this. You had sent me an article. I didn't get to read it yet with Star Tribune, in which something about the schools, something about them closing something on Star Tribune or the transportation.
No, high school kids. There's no city buses no. There's school buses no more.
Oh, man.
Yeah, high school kids don't take school buses anymore. Unless, no, they don't, because you're not allowed, you're not allowed to go to school outside of your address anymore. So you couldn't be from South Minneapolis and then go to Woodbury. You have to have an address from somebody that lives in Woodbury, and you act like you live with them. So what goes on now with these kids is they got rid of all the school buses, so now they got like these private driving companies that'll pick kids up, and then certain kids will get on the city bus or the light rail. Yeah, like South High, there ain't no more school bus.
So the school bus does not pick you up from the house like how we did, and then drop you off at school?
No, not for high school.
When did that start?
A few years ago. I noticed it. Maybe this is probably the first year I noticed it.
I had no clue.
I don't have any kids or anything, but somebody brought it up to me. No, I know how it is. There's a friend of mine who lives here in the building. She drives her car, and she picks kids up, takes them to school, and drops them off. When I was asking about, she's like, yeah, high school kids, they ain't got no more school buses. Some, she was like, elementary ain't even got school buses.
So how do all those kids get to school?
They got these little programs that pick certain kids up and drop them off. Some of them your parents. Some of them get on the bus. School bus, city bus, light rail. Yeah, it's a whole different time, in our society. And the thing is they've never emphasized education in the inner city.
Right.
And they never will, They'll let kids, you can get a high school diploma with a D-, grade point average. Come on, man. I have a program called Learn with Phil, where I work with illiteracy and people trying to get their GEDs and their American citizenship. Be surprised, man, how many Americans you see that can't read.
Yeah, a lot of them can't.
A lot of them. It's just something that nobody is going to admit. I mean, how many people do you know are in your circle of people and you sitting there reading with them and shit? You might know somebody and talk to them for 10 years and never knew that motherfucker can't really read. It's not something that people publicize,
That's crazy.
But it's a part of the system, man. Let's make sure these kids I don't know what they got going on. Let's just get them out of here because high schools get paid. But this is like, so Minneapolis in general gets buku money. Their surplus that they got sitting, man, they got billions. They sitting on billions. That's why they can do all this. But you know what they're doing in Minneapolis now? They're buying up apartment buildings, building apartment buildings, and just harboring the homeless, giving them free apartments. Giving them free apartments and telling them we'll pay their rent for a year, then you're self-sufficient. And in that year, majority of them go right back to the streets because they didn't do anything in that year.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know multiple people like that. I know a couple people that got a free apartment and fucked it up. I know one dude that was homeless for years, finally got an apartment. Fucked it up arguing with the staff. I said, you dumb motherfucker, man. Some of them, now these hotels, they were what the city's doing with that too. They seeing homeless people and they just telling the hotels, oh, y'all ain't got no vacancies? Well, guess what? We'll buy up a bunch of these rooms and put these bums in there. And we'll fix up whatever they fuck up.
So who's paying for that?
You and me.
I don't want to pay for that. Not
It
at all.
doesn't matter what you want to pay for. You voting Democrats in the office, people like Mayor Fry, that's what's going to happen. Mayor Fry seen the homeless people as voters. Because guess what? They can vote. The ones that ain't felons, they can vote. And not just the homeless sympathizers. That's a organization. How about if I told you something that'll fuck you up? How about if I told you homeless people in the state or in the city of Minneapolis have more rights than foundationals?
I could believe it.
Because guess what? If I'm talking to the homeless community, there's someone I can negotiate with. Well, guess what? Tell all the homeless if they do this, we're going to do that for them. Then you can kind of weed out the fools from the ones that's on code. To Mayor Fry, homelessness, the homeless community, homeless activists, those are voters. And if I cater to them, they'll vote for me. And the regular population isn't smart enough to realize what I'm doing, so they won't get mad and not vote for me. That's how he keeps winning. You know what I mean? No, he keeps winning. I'm getting these. Hey, Democrats realize we got to create our own voters. We got these homeless people that would never give a fuck about voting. They would never give a shit. Guess what? Let's pump them up with benefits and this and that where they got to vote for us. And what they do is when they come sign them up for the little gift card programs and this and that they're in, they also sign this retroactive ballot. You know what I mean? Because if you vote for him, they'll tell them who to vote for. Well, vote for him because if you vote for him, you'll still get these gift cards. You'll get this. Oh, yeah, okay, let's do that. Democrats, and you really can't, you got to just kind of look at it and kind of clap at it because Republicans would have done the same thing if they could have got away with it. The Republican Party could never get away with bringing 28 illegal immigrants to America. They'd have to answer for that shit. Them rednecks they want to know what the fuck is going on. There's going to be a war in America, man.
I can believe it.
And foundationals are going to the back and just kind of regrouping right now, going to the couch. There's going to be these race soldiers in Paco. That's about to go down here. And Kamala Harris and these people, they don't give a fuck. Because guess what? Guess where them illegal immigrants ain't going to be? Anywhere near where the fuck she lives.
No, they not.
Anywhere near anybody else that's approving that, where they live. Here in the city of Minnesota, wherever Mayor Fry lives, there ain't no bums over there.
No,
There ain't no bums right across. There ain't no tents right across the street from his house where his kids can't go out and play and there's needles everywhere. It'd be a different story if there was. But guess what? As long as you people in Minneapolis keep voting for Mayor Fry and the Democratic Party, continue to see this bullshit.
Yeah,
It's a joke, complete joke. But guess what? Continue to see it because Fry's doing here on a local level, Harris and these guys are doing on a national level.
Yeah,
We're going to get our voters, and we're going to compromise all y'all's lives, but guess what? It ain't us.
Yeah, they don't feel bad about it at all. But what we're gonna do?
If you're a Democrat, if you're voting for Kamala Harris, you're a fan of the Democratic Party. You're not a member of the party. If you're a Republican, you're saving money voting for them motherfuckers. If they get into office, you're saving money doing that. If you're voting for Kamala Harris, and you're just a fan. That's it. That's why I call it the fans of the Democratic Party. The actual Democratic Party, them the only people who benefit. Them and Lanes. Yeah. Everybody else is a fan. That's it. When you go to the polls and you vote for Kamala Harris, you're just a fan of hers.
Yeah, it's like
they vote for policy.
Yeah, they're not voting for policy. They're just voting for trolling. But
you're just a fan.
But what we're gonna do, we're gonna take another deep dive next time I do another broadcast, man. I'm gonna chop this up. I'm gonna edit it. I appreciate you for jumping on, man. I got a bunch of other topics we want to cover next time. So, thanks for joining on, man, and I'll be uploading it soon.
All right, man. It was a great show.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right. Peace.
Peace.